Smooth 98.1, love music, love life. It's time for our 5 musings at 5.
Yes, indeed. We'd love to hear what you think about our musings. And if you've got any musings of your own, please send them to us. The WhatsApp number is 0809 4440981 or just tweet at smooth981 and don't forget to use the hashtag 5 at 5.
Alrighty, let's start off with the first one. So I want to talk about Google, and I know I've talked about this a few times on the show. How we have digital prints all over social media. In fact, Zivia and I had this conversation a few weeks ago. It feels as though whenever we talk about something, it then pops up on maybe our Instagram or Facebook feed or even Twitter feed.
Yeah.
It feels as though someone's listening.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
today I want to talk about Google location. Now, this might work for you in a good way or in a bad way, depending on how you look at it. Now, do you know that Google knows everywhere you go to? Right now, Zippy, if I took your phone, I can tell you where you went to, maybe.
Not right now, because I had to deactivate a lot of things after I discovered that.
Well, this one I'm sure you don't know about.
Oh, my days.
On the 1st of maybe this month now, I can tell you where you went to, the time, and how you got there.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you something funny. So, everybody has a map feature on their phone, whether you're an iOS user or an Android user, and there's a location button there, right? So what you need to do is go to your maps profile, your timeline, location history. Now, if you want to turn that off, you can turn it off. But just in case you forget things, maybe like me, for example, or you want to, make a count of something that happened in the past, like you want to, like, where did I go on the 13th of maybe April? What you can do is go to that place, maps, profile, timeline, location. When you check all that bit, you'll find that everything that you did in that space, in that time, it's there. And you can turn it off if you want. Now, for people that want to check on their spouses,
Oh,
this
my
is also
days.
a good one too.
do not try to sneak on your spouse. That's not cute.
If you do that, then you know that you just give yourself unnecessary high blood
Exactly.
pressure.
Sometimes people just want to have their own time. Because people are married or in a relationship doesn't mean that they don't want to have personal time where they want to do their own thing. I mean, yeah, so please, no snooping.
Exactly.
Snooping leads to heartbreak.
Alrighty.
All right, so moving on to our second musing. This one has to do with the beauty of diversity. So a few hours ago, I saw a video of some Nigerian army troops, and they were dressed for war and battle in a camouflage. It looked like a dry terrain, so probably somewhere in the northeast, I'm not too sure. And there were two men standing in front, and one said a prayer, a Christian prayer, and everyone is saying amen, amen, praying for victory and safety and guidance. And I thought it was so beautiful. And then the other man says a prayer the Muslim way, and everyone together
Still said
still
amen.
said amen. And it was very emotional. Actually, I'm not gonna lie, like I teared up just watching that scene because it was so emotional, right? Like all these people from different parts of Nigeria, different ethnicities, different cultures, different beliefs, different religions, but at the end of the day, they all love and protect and look out for each other. And these are the same people who are trying to keep Nigeria safe. And in that moment, they had the same goal. They didn't care if one person was saying a Christian, exactly, if one person was saying a Christian prayer or a Muslim prayer. And I just thought that was a message that they were sending to Nigerians. We need to be united regardless of the little differences that we have. We're all humans at the end of the day. And the common goal is we want everyone to be okay. We want our borders to be okay. We want all Nigerians to be okay. And I really just hope that somehow that would touch someone who is seeking for division along these ethnic, religious, or gender lines. Just have a rethink and say, you know what, we're all one.
Exactly. I always say this every single time. Religion, sometimes take out religion and then let people just worship. You'd find that people are exactly one. Religion causes a lot of, and that's not even what I'm going to talk about today. Okay, let's move on real quick. So our third musing, I want to talk about the coronation. Okay, so swearing in of the king of England.
God save the king.
God save the king, right? So Charles III. So this happened on Saturday, right? But amidst all of this, some people were protesting, and there were hashtags on social media. Hashtag not my king, for a number of reasons. Now, one of the reasons, some of the people had was that they said that 2 new leaders were introduced in the space of 1 week, without public vote. There was also the talk about how there's something called an inheritance tax, and that's the
Yeah.
king now, stands to inherit about $750 million without paying tax, and
Yeah.
people didn't feel too good about that. But I asked myself this question. Yes, maybe people were aggrieved about these kind of things, but is it was it necessary to protest on the day of the coronation? Because it made no sense to me. Right?
Mm.
There are other ways you can voice out your opinions. Some of them were bundled, they were arrested. But then I asked myself, all these things could have been avoided and they could have been discussed at another time. But then again, maybe the sensitivity of the matter is why they did it on that day. I'm just thinking.
Right. I mean, this is actually going to lead to our fourth music. So maybe I should just go straight into the fourth music.
Okay.
And this has to do with the hypocrisy of the West. Now, the United Kingdom, the United States, particularly, these are nations that, would stand on the premise or the belief in freedom of expression, freedom of speech. And when certain countries are trying to clamp down on what they would term people's rights, they're going to stand out there and say this is unacceptable. We've seen the ambassadors give speeches. I mean, even here in Nigeria with the NSAS issue from 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. Wow, time really does fly.
Yeah.
I know. Okay, well, coming down to the hypocrisy, people are being arrested because they're holding placards saying, they're anti-monarchy, or they're just not in support, or they're happy that the Queen has died. It's tacky. Most people believe it's tacky to celebrate when someone dies. But these same people from the West have been very excited to report and joyfully interview residents and citizens of countries that have had leaders die. Like when Saddam Hussein was executed, I remember that day, it was in 2006, very early on a morning in December. And all the news networks in the UK were so happy to interview people. When Gaddafi also died, it was the same thing. So that people are going over and toppling giant statues of these
His
people.
leaders, yeah.
So why do you think everyone is going to feel the same emotion that the Queen has passed? I mean, everyone has their reservations about certain rulers. I mean, I have my opinions about the Queen, but a 96-year-old woman passing away, it's always a time for reflection, and I will say rest in peace, But at the end of the day, you can't make a set of rules for the world and another set of rules for you. It's a lot of hypocrisy. If people want to rejoice that the Queen is dead, well, guess what? You believe in that culture of freedom of expression, freedom of speech. Well, guess what? Those people shouldn't have been arrested. A woman was popping champagne and, happy that the Queen had
This is
passed.
a white Caucasian woman?
Yes, from Scotland.
Okay.
And her shop was literally raided. People were egging it. The police had to be invited. And there were seeing people who were protesting or just holding up symbols, really being arrested. It's such double standards. There can't be one set of standards for the West and one set of standards for Africa and African leaders. We'll stay by those rules. So it's freedom of speech. Let those people protest if they want.
All right. Let's talk about our fifth music, yes? Okay, so fifth one, we're going to talk about a conversation I had with someone just a few minutes ago about self-service here in Nigeria, or just self-service in the world, really. Now, so you know how you go to gas stations, across the world, and you can, sell your own gas yourself.
You're expected to. No one is going to help you except your spouse if he's got muscles.
Exactly, right? But we don't see that happen here. Sometimes when you're buying your petrol, you have to come down to even check whether they sold it correctly to you. But when are we going to get to that stage where you can just come down from your vehicle and then sell your gas yourself, your petrol yourself, and then you're fine, as opposed to being cautious, and it goes for a lot of other things. There's so many other services that we can do by ourselves, but we wait for other people to do it. Now, it now begs the question, if there is someone that does it for us, or if AI, like what we say, take over all of these things, will there be jobs? Will there be opportunities for people? Because the way the world is going now, it'll get to that stage where people need, where everything is automated. I think that's the best way to describe this. And then a lot of people will be out of jobs. And in an economy or in an environment where a lot of people are not skilled, what happens to a lot of people?
And I think this is why I would always need attendance at petrol stations in Nigeria, because labor is actually very cheap in Nigeria. So people actually need those jobs. And I think those sort of jobs will never go out of style, even if people can do them. But people need jobs. People need that money. They need to contribute their own bit to the economy. So unfortunately, why is it fortunately now?
Fortunately
I think
and unfortunately.
yeah, it goes both ways. But I'm leaning more towards fortunately
Yeah.
people will have those jobs, because I mean unemployment is already at a bursting point. Imagine if we had the casual workers, going out of jobs because these processes were getting more automated. It would be scary for everyone.
That's our 5 musings at 5. There's more to come. Rodos will be joining us in a few more minutes for the marketplace.